Hey guys, Justin Bryant here from selfmadesuccess.com, and in this video I'm going to show you 12 new business ideas that are really going to flourish in the future, are really going to become in demand, and don't have a lot of competition right now. So I'm going to show you these businesses. They're going to meet needs now, but their needs are going to grow a whole lot in the near future. So you might want to start pouncing on these types of ideas if something resonates with you. So the first one is a 3D printing service. So 3D printing, you can print automobile parts. People are printing um, body parts. People are printing even food now. So 3D printing is something that very few people can do right now. Very few households have a 3D printer. Very few companies have a 3D printer. So 3D printing is something that doesn't have a lot of competition right now, still in the early stages, but if you can get your hands on one, if you can master 3D printing as best as you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do a 3D printing service. You can 3D print certain types of products specifically. Maybe you want to 3D print wheels for cars. Maybe you want to 3D print car parts or um, people who need prosthetic limbs. There's all kinds of things. So if you want to check out, say, 3dhubs.com, you'll get a kind of an idea of how a business can be built with 3D printing, get an idea from their website of how you might structure your website or sell your services just by seeing kind of how they do it, and maybe get an idea of what kind of things they've done. So 3dhubs.com is kind of an example of someone who's doing this, but there's very little competition right now, and the demand is going to explode in the future. Number two is employee monitoring. So more and more people are wanting to work from home, work mobily with a laptop that the company supplies. And if you want to go to top10reviews.com, you can check out some of the best employee monitoring software. So you can use software or create your own or find other ways to actually have people monitoring themselves, and making sure employees are just doing what they're supposed to be doing, and not being able to find loopholes that make it look like they're working when they're actually not. So when you're at home, you're tempted by a lot of things, and with the growing industry of letting employees work from home using company computers and things like that, this is going to really become more and more in demand. So if you can come up with a great service or great software for employee monitoring, um, a lot of businesses will be interested. Number three is smartphone repair. So everybody has a smartphone these days, it seems like, and smartphone repair is becoming more and more in demand. You have to go to somebody like Apple. You got to pay almost the cost of the phone just to get it fixed. You can't even hardly take apart an Apple phone by yourself. But there are tutorials that teach you how to do these things. You can look them up on YouTube, you can take courses, you can learn how these phones work, get the right tools, maybe even build a staff and get to where you can repair different smartphones, especially the most popular ones. So YouBreakIFix.com is an example of a business that does this. So they have a website. I think they have some actual franchise locations. You can see franchising up here. So you could even get a franchise with something like this maybe, or you can start your own gig. But if you can fix smartphones and do it for quite a bit less than the companies themselves do it that actually make the phones, then you're going to really have a lot of business in the future. Number four, social media management or consulting. So if you want to really get into social media, if you like managing Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, things like that, you're really good with them, you really keep up with the constant changes and improvements that these companies are trying to make to their apps and their sites, and you're really good at getting traffic, getting engagement, and getting followers on these sites and getting people to click on promotions, then social media management might be the perfect business for you. And if you want to learn about some tools that can really help you with this, I would recommend you go to jeffbullis.com and check out his post called The 17 Best Social Media Management Tools. Has a lot of great tools that you can use for your social media management, that you can use to help you automate the process as much as possible and get things done and keep things organized for each client. Number 5 is automation services. So more and more people are wanting to spend more time doing more important tasks. So product development, marketing, things like that. But automation is going to be a big part of the future. It's really making a big impact now, but there's not a whole lot of automation services, you'll notice. So there might be a few tools here and there you can use, but if you can go in and be a consultant that helps businesses automate a big chunk of their repetitive tasks, then not only will you save them money, you will save them time and allow them to focus on the most important parts of their business. So if you want to get into automation services or consulting, I would recommend you get the best tools you can. And there's an article on entrepreneur.com that mentions 15 tools you can use to create automation in a small business, from anywhere from social media to marketing to email to all these types of things. And I would recommend you check out this article, and that'll kind of get you started with the right tools, and then you can build on more as you go. But automation services are something that could really have a big impact, and you should definitely consider if you're into technology that saves time. 6 is you could start a food truck business, which is of course being more and more popular. Millennials love food trucks, and of course millennials are going to be the big spenders coming up, and as they get into their mid-20s and start getting more money and better jobs, millennials are into food trucks. Food trucks are mobile. You can take them to the most popular places at the most popular times around a certain area. It allows you to save money from having to buy a lease or anything like that. So if you want to check out more on food trucks and things like that, you can go to foodtrucker.com, spelled with a trucker without the E, as you can see there. And there's a article called 50 Food Truck Owners Speak Out, What I Wish I'd Known Before Starting My Food Truck. So I found this to be a very helpful article about, learning from people that have actually done this. This is not hypothetical type stuff, and people who have actually had a food truck and actually gotten started and gotten their feet wet and just took action. These are the things that they wish they had learned. This can get you off to a great start, kind of help you know what you're getting into before you get the food truck purchased. So I would recommend that article if you're into cooking. Number 7 is app development. So every company seems to want an app, whether it's for business, whether it's for social media, whether it's for add-ons to a specific brand, whether it's for games. App development is a huge service that's in demand, and if you can create apps, if you're good at coding and things like that, you should definitely get into it. Or if you want to learn it, if you're very interested in apps and you really love apps, and you feel like you can make some of the apps of the future and make them better than a lot of others might, then you might go to udemy.com and take some courses on how to create apps. There's a lot of courses on here. You can check out the ratings and things like that, and the different lectures on how to create apps. So you don't actually have to go and get a degree or something. You can just pay maybe a few $100s, get the education you need, and from people that do it for a living professionally, and you can start making your own apps for people. You can make your own apps and sell those. You can do both. There's all kinds of things you can do, but apps are definitely going to be more and more in demand as more and more people get smartphones. Number 8, an analytics, and these can be products, services. Analytics are extremely important, and they're used for a lot of different things now. They're not just used for businesses anymore. Kissmetrics has a great brand where they built an analytics company, and they have a analytics software that you can use to help you get better numbers and help you increase conversions, get more traffic and things like that. Google Analytics is a free tool that a lot of people love using. But that's more for the business side. You can also get into things like fantasy sports. There's not a whole lot of fantasy sports analytic companies yet that are actually doing really well, but there are so many. It just shows you that there are so many different applications of analytics. Even the Cleveland Browns football team hired a company that is very into analytics to help them try to make it a successful team. And if you've seen the movie Moneyball, that's another example. You can see how it's used in sports. So it's used in sports, it's used in business, it's used in all kinds of things. You can use it in social media. Analytics can be applied to almost anything if you can test and keep track of the testing. So if you're good at analytics, you're good with numbers, you should make a business or some kind of consulting work for yourself to actually go through, help businesses create your own sites, whatever you want to do. You might even create your own algorithms like some of these fantasy sports sites do. But analytics is always going to be in big demand, and it's becoming more and more popular in the last couple years. Number 9, you can do electric car charging services or products. So more and more electric cars are springing up. There's not a whole lot of them in the mainstream yet, but you see more and more coming out. BMW coming out with the electric i8. You have the Nissan Leaf. You have smart cars. All these electric cars are going to need mobile chargers. They're going to need more charging stations. People are going to need to be able to charge at home. So how are people going to be able to do all this stuff and make electric cars more convenient so they can help the environment and all that, and to make electric cars more mainstream? So if you can come up with some kind of electric car solutions, whether it's products, whether it's stations, whether it's services, maybe you go meet people who need a charge and meet them at a location like you have a charging truck. I don't know, but you can check out evsolutions.com and see kind of what's going on in the world of vehicle charging products and services, kind of see how they structure their company to get some ideas of how you might advance with some kind of an idea in this industry. Number 10, you could do robotics repairs. So there's going to be more and more robots. Google, all these different companies, Amazon, they're getting into drones, they're getting into robots, they're getting into, eventually we're going to have robot butlers and stuff, and robots mowing the lawn, who knows. So if you're good at robotics, you should definitely start looking at creating a robotics repair shop or website or service to allow you to just get going and get on the ground floor while this stuff starts to take off. It's a good time to start thinking about these types of things. So if you want to check out kind of what a robot technician needs to be good at, what kind of schooling or certifications they might need to be able to do this stuff, create a business or get a occupation in this area, you can go to study.com and check out robot technician. I mean, I know this is for jobs, and I'm trying to show you businesses that you can start, but this will just give you an idea of kind of how in demand this is, kind of education that people look for in people that are in robotics. And if you start a business, you want to have some kind of certifications and things too, just to use for credibility. I'm not saying you should go get a job, but you want to have credibility as a robot technician, because this stuff is going to really take off, and if you can separate yourself, then this could be a very high-paying, very worthwhile type of business. Number 11, testing and feedback services. So people are always coming out with new products, they're always coming out with new services, they're always coming out with new websites and apps. If you start a business for testing, you are always going to be busy if you position yourself well. So one example would be producttestingusa.com, and they actually look for, you can actually sign up to be a reviewer for them, and work for them if you don't want to just completely branch out and start your own gig yet. You get to test out, watches, food, technology, and all this different stuff that might not be coming out yet. You even get to keep some of the things that you test. So if you want to try that out, if you want to get into testing, check out producttestingusa.com or make your own website, make your own service. But either way, there's going to be so many products coming out more and more, from clothing to electronics to all kinds of stuff. Apps, websites. People need testing because a lot of times it blows up in their face if they don't test every part of what their product or service is before letting it be sold. Number 12, home services for seniors. So home services for seniors, I mean people that are baby boomers. A huge chunk of the population are going to be retiring very soon, and if they're not already retired, and these people make such a huge difference in the population that they're not going to be able to eventually go out and get haircuts or get their meds or go to the grocery store, things like that. So how can you help seniors as they get older? How can you create a business for this market? These people are going to have money, they're just not going to be able to have the physical strength they used to, or the they're not going to feel like going out and doing all these things that they used to be able to do. They're just not going to be able. So one example is that's kind of springing up a little bit is like a mobile salon truck. So people still like to look good and everything even when they're old, but it's hard for them to go out and just get a haircut, drive around, all this stuff. People that are old need services to come to them. And you could do like a mobile salon. You could do cutting their hair. You could get an actual truck. Think of all the different types of trucks you could get created that you could take to these people's houses. And you could use that for all kinds of different things. But this is just one example of like a mobile salon. And these people can go cut their hair, do their nails, all kinds of stuff. Food trucks. You can do all kinds of things just to deliver to people and bring the place to them instead of them having to drive to the place when they're very elderly. So that's just a cool idea, and it meets a very big part of the population's problems. So if you got something from this video, if you feel like you got some cool ideas that you may have not thought about, that are new, that you might not have heard before, don't forget to like and subscribe so I can bring you more videos like this. And if you want to include some other futuristic or new businesses that you think are going to be very worthwhile in the near future that I missed out or that I left out in the video, or you just want to let me know what you thought about the video, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. And if you want to contact me directly, if you want to get more in-depth blog posts on this type of stuff, get more ideas, if you want to get some courses on how to actually create these businesses step by step, you can go to selfmadesuccess.com. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you have a great day.